Good afternoon, and thank you for listening today to the Miss Scent Show. And we're here today with, as always, to give God praise and honor for all that He does. And we're here today. We have a guest, Mr. Joe Lockett, and I want to read some information about him, his bio, and we're going to get right into the show. We have Joe Lockett, which was born July 13th, 1970, to Joe Lockett Sr. and Mama Lockett. And he's always marched to a beat of his own drum. Joe did not realize the impact of having the characteristics of courage, integrity, and accountability. The beat of Joe's drum led him to the United States Army for 8 years, where he learned those characteristics. He also is the owner of the JL Show, which is TV and radio with the Alabama Cable Network, and the radio on WYDE 101 FM, which is news, entertainment, and real talk about topics that matter to his audience. It's a radio and TV show for and about the people, or the voices of the community, no matter where that community lies. He also owns Community First, which is the Joel Lockett philosophy: will be nothing without giving back to the community. Joe's Lockett Learn program has given away over 4,000 books over the last 3 years. In 2016, Joe created the JL Mentoring Camp for boys and girls. 30 families benefited from this free camp. Joe has been awarded the Who's Who in Birmingham, the Men of Influence Award, the boys, can you read? The Mayor William A. Bell Senior Small Business Award, William Robinson Entrepreneur of the Year Award in 2017. He is married to Michelle Lockett and has 1 son, 2 daughters, and 1 brother. And I just want to say, first of all, Mr. Lockett, I'm glad to have you taken out of your busy time today to come on the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Cynthia. I'm excited. Been excited about this all day long. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Doing great. I'm glad to have you on the show, and I know you were so excited to talk about your new book.
Yes, it's one of my projects I've been talking about I was going to do for like 100 years, and I finally was able to get a book out. So I'm really happy about that accomplishment.
I know it's a great thing.
Yeah, it is. It's a good feeling once you finally did something that you said you was going to do, and you finally was able to get it all together. So it's a great feeling.
Yes, everyone has their checklist of list of things they want to do, and you got a big check mark about that one right there.
Yeah, that was on my bucket list, and hopefully now I got a book out now. Hopefully I can make it a bestseller.
That's the goal.
Yes, ma'am.
And we want to start off. Oh, I keep hearing me. No one's in the background.
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. I want to start off in you telling your story. And I do know a little bit about your story, but I want you to start off basically. I know you were telling me you were homeless. Give us that story of how you became homeless.
Well, there was a case back about 10 years ago when I was investing in homes. And I was flipping houses. I was an investor. And as people remember, about 10 years ago, the market went bad. It went belly up. And first time in business, thought I was doing great things, Cynthia. And, the old cliche is I tried to move too fast. And so as an investor, I had bought homes. And I had about 20 houses. And, trying to pay 20 mortgages when the market wasn't moving, it sunk me. And I wound up in a trailer park sleeping on a friend's couch for about a good year. I didn't have money. I was completely broke. Didn't know what I was going to do. It was a tough time back during that time. But I started my construction company by being on the sofa in a trailer park because I had been flipping homes, Cynthia, for a while, and so I had tools. Didn't really know a lot about carpentry at the time, but I started my business, Husbands to Go. And it kind of took off from there, and the rest of it sort of kind of history. We wound up being on TV, being booked up for months and months in advance. But again, I grew too fast. I ran into the problem of fast growth, but not enough training, not good workers. And so I had to wind up shutting the company down and starting all over again to repair some of the stuff that my guys had went in there and screwed up. So, in life, man, I learned a lot. I did a lot of failure. I was afraid of a lot of different things, and it brought me to a point, Cynthia, where I learned quickly and I learned on the job. Had some good ideas, but some things, having a good idea without a great game plan is not always good.
That's true. That's true. But guess what? You didn't give up because, hey, you're still here.
I didn't give up, but there were times, Cynthia, I can tell your listening audience, there were times, because a lot of your listening audience, I'm sure, is going through these things right now. There were times that I felt like giving up. There were times that I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to pay the next bill. I didn't know how I was going to pay payroll sometimes. But honestly, with God, faith, and help, some things didn't go well all the time. And that's the thing I think people need to realize, that when you're on that road of climbing up the ladder, Cynthia, it don't always go right. And sometimes you have to bite the bullet, and sometimes that bullet hurts. And you have to face the facts. And one thing I learned was to the quickest lesson I can tell your listening audience is this. I learned how to tell the truth quickly and face my fear. That was the biggest thing that I had to truly learn, Cynthia, was when it was bad, don't try to hide it. Just go ahead and get it on and get with it. That was one of the biggest things that I had to learn. And still today, I still have to go through that. I have to go back to that small lesson when things get out of hand. I have to say, well, let me face how bad this is, or how, whatever the situation. Let me face this, make the phone calls, talk to the proper people, and see how we need to move forward. So those are some of the things that when I first got started, when you read off the different awards I had, people see the awards. People saw me on TV. People saw me, listen to me on the radio. But people didn't see the times that, my lights got turned off. People didn't see the times that, my cable bill got turned off. Or I barely had enough gas in my car to get to work. I get to my own office. People didn't see those times, Cynthia.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, I said, you see a lot of the glory behind it. You don't see all the stuff that's behind it. It's a lot of work, and it doesn't come like in one day. This is not American Idol. You sing one song and you got a hit.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
So, that's true. I have to say that that's one of the toughest things when it comes to business. Everyone is always looking for the secret formula. What is that magic sauce? What are the secret ingredients that you do to make it work? And I tell people there's really no secret ingredients. The thing that you have to do is have a game plan. You have to work that game plan. It takes time. It takes patience. And you got to have faith in God. That's the formula. If you're looking for a formula, that's the formula. It ain't no secret ingredients. If you don't put the hard work and the time in, things are not going to go your way. And you can't give up when the thing's at its worst. Because what happens is, and what I've learned, Cynthia, even when I got ready to write this book, was when things get its worst, I say that's how God is testing you and see, do you truly want what you asked him for? And if you're able to pass that test, God will open that door for you just a little bit so you can see, yeah, I got
you. Yes, because that's awesome. Cause it's a lot of work. And Lord, I tell you, obstacles come all the time, and sometimes you don't pass the test, and guess what? You got to repeat it over and over and over and over until you pass the test. So sometimes you don't even want it as much as you thought you did.
Well, and that's why God put that test there for you, because some things you say you want, God wants to make sure that this is what you want, because this is the responsibility that comes with it. When you're having tough times in a business or anything that you're doing in life, you're learning life lessons along the way of that obstacle. And if you're tough enough to get through it, you're going to get on the other side of it. But you keep failing because, number one, maybe it's not the right time, maybe it's not the right product, maybe it's not the right service, maybe it's just not the right thing to do. But God pushed you in a direction to make you figure that out. And once you figure that out, some people succeed at it, some people quit, and some people just stay stagnant and stay right there.
Yes. What I wanted to ask you is, what is that small business? What is it for a small business owner they must have to be successful? I guess you can ask them, what's that one thing you think they should have to be successful?
The one thing I think, that a business owner should have to be successful is a passion for whatever. And I know it sounds so cliche. I know it do. But they should have a true passion for what it is that they want to do, what they don't want to get paid for. They don't care if they get paid for it or not. When you can work for something and you don't care about the money, but you care about the service or what you're doing or the product of what you're producing, then the byproduct of that is financial success. So I would tell any business owner, be sure whatever business that you're in or you're about to start, it is something that you truly love like a child, and you're willing to go through its sick times, its good times, its bad times. Make sure you're willing to do that. So any business owner, I would say find something that you truly love to do, and you will never work a day in your life.
Yes, that's good. How did you go from HGTV straight to radio?
Well, that was another oxymoron for me. I was looking for something. Again, it went back to God. I was telling God, as I did my company in construction, I didn't want to do it anymore. I had this big dream. I was going to franchise my $25 husband company. I thought, if I had made it to Fox 6 News, I was on TV with it. I was going to do franchising, but having so many problems with workers and people not showing up for work, I'm like, man, I can't see myself franchising this, and I'm getting a phone call late at night from somewhere out of state, and somebody that messed around and messed up, and I'm being sued, right? So it really scared me away. So I was like, I don't know if I really want to franchise my business. So I kept asking God. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not fun. And so I told my wife that I want to find something that I can do one time, and it's multiplied by itself, a cookie cutter process. Didn't know it was radio. Again, didn't know what it was. My wife got a promotion. It took her to West Virginia. She wanted me to move up there from Alabama, and I was like, I don't know if I want to move to West Virginia if you don't know you want to stay up there or not. So I told her I'd travel back and forth. And so, true story, we got my wife moved in, and my son moved in up in West Virginia, got a house up there. I laid in the floor because I didn't know what I was going to do because my family was moving, and I didn't want to move up there. I didn't want to take a construction company to West Virginia. I laid in the floor of our empty house that we just had bought, and it was in the dining room floor. I told my wife, I just want to sit here and just kind of get me some rest. So no furniture. I laid on the floor for about a good 2 or 3 hours. When I woke up, I had a great idea, Cynthia. I know your listeners are saying, like, what was the great? I had this great idea. I said, baby, let me take you to dinner. I took her to this White Cloth table restaurant. I bought a nice wine. I said, baby, I know what I'm going to do. I know, I got it. And she was like, oh, good. She was sitting there, all googly-eyed and all that other stuff. Cause she was like, okay. She was thinking that I was going to come to West Virginia. I said, nope. I said, what I'm going to do, baby, and you're going to like this. I'm going to start a radio show, and I'm going to syndicate it like Steve Harvey, where the white tablecloth went to like a dog room in a back alley somewhere. Cause the look she gave me was like, really? That's what you brought me here for? She was like, so, didn't know since we've been married that you had a degree in radio. I don't. Didn't know you know Steve Harvey. I don't. But I'm a syndicate. But you gonna syndicate? She said, all right then.
That wife look on her face too. I can imagine that look.
Cynthia was not good. My enthusiasm that I thought she was going to have for me with my bright idea, it Lord knows it didn't go there, Cynthia. It did. That was a tough ride. That was a tough dinner. That was a tough, expensive dinner. A long ride home, and then we had to go home to an empty house. And I got very few words for about a couple of days from my wife. But I told her, I said, I'm going to do it. Give me 1 year. If it does not work, I will move to West Virginia, no questions asked. And that's how my radio show started. So I came back to Birmingham, didn't know anything about radio, so I called a good friend of mine that was in radio who was Comedian Joy. She was actually on the Hollis Warmsby show. And gave her a phone call, asked could I come sit in because I didn't know really what I was doing. And so I sat on that show, and Hollis, to his credit, good guy, he said, if you're going to sit in my studio, you got to come to the microphone and say something. And he let me come there, and I started talking. He's like, well, what do you do, Joe? I'm like, well, I'm a do-it-yourself expert for Fox 6 News. I own this company, H2G, blah, blah, blah. And, he said, well, give us some tips. And I gave a couple of tips. And that's another thing I tell your listening audience, Cynthia. Always be ready, because you never know when your opportunity may come. And so after that show, Wednesday of the following week, comedian Joe gave me a call and said the host of the show, which was Hollis Warnsby, said, "Hey, have that guy Joe, if he wants to, he can come in on the show and do it yourself tips on my radio show." I'm like, "Really?" And she was like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "Of course, I'll be there." So I was able to do his show. I got into radio, and I was on his show for about a good 3 months before his show got canceled. And when the show was canceled, comedian Joe was there, and Melva Tate had actually been a co-host on that show also. So when the show was canceled, I asked them too, would they mind starting a radio show with me? And we went to breakfast, and they told me yeah. And the rest is pretty much history. They asked me, what kind of radio show you want to do? I said, I have no idea. Give me about a week, and I figured out that I wanted to do a relationship show. They said, what station we going to be on? I have no idea. I went talking to a lot of different radio stations, Cynthia, to figure out how to get a radio show, blah, 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 and all that good stuff. And the long story short is I went to WYDE, told them my idea of the radio show that I had for the Love-Hate Debate, showed them my theme music. They asked me, can I start the next week? And 2 weeks, I think about 2 or 3 weeks later, I had my own radio show. It was prime time. It was prime time, Cynthia, the best time in the world. 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning.
I remember, because I remember being up and listening to it.
Yeah, I was on my way, right? 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning. First show, nothing before me. I'm waking people up trying to do something, but the show took off because I figured out I did a little radio with Hollis, but we figured out how to get people up early in the morning. We would fight about relationship stuff early in the morning. It was male against female. Man code against woman code, and me, Melva, and Joe, we would go at it, and I added some battle. And my thought was, if people that's getting off work or flipping through the channels early in the morning, if they hear people arguing early in the morning, the first thing they're gonna do is stop to see what it's about, right? And that's what happened.
Yeah.
People stopped to see what it was about. They called in early in the morning. They were taking Joe's side. They were taking my side, and our show was not long enough, but that's how it became. And within 6 months, we became the number one radio talk show on Saturday mornings at that station.
That's awesome. And it all came from a thought and a dream and a vision that you
Yes.
had.
Yes, it was a thought and a dream and a vision, but boy, it was a nightmare when I told my wife, Cynthia. Boy, y'all don't know. I still cringe today. I told her about my idea. But now if you ask my wife,
things different now.
but she had never claimed how mad she was. She like, I believe in you, honey. Yeah, right.
We say that now, of course. We're not going to.
Yeah,
women, we're not going to say that now. You already know. We're not going to say anything. Yeah, baby, that was for you all the time. Congratulations, babe. That's what you're going to get.
Exactly. Right.
We're not going to ride like that.
Exactly. But long story short is we ended up when I renegotiated my contract, I was able to get a 3-hour show. They said that the show is doing well, but you need more time. And so we wound up getting a 3-hour show, and we really did get prime time. Now we've been 4 to 7 for the last 3 years. I was on at 6 o'clock in the morning for 1 year, and ever since then I've been on prime time on Saturdays from 4 to 7. So I have a 3-hour show on WYDE 101.1 here in Birmingham, Alabama. And for your listening audience, if they're out of state, they can catch it at 101WYDE.com. You can follow us out there. Go to JoeLockettShow.com and just click on listen, and you can listen to it on weekends.
Yes, that's awesome. Just imagine if people listen to the story, they can know that if you can do it, they can do it too. You got to put some thought into it. You got to have friends, the people that are going to be there for you. You got to get your people around you to do what you're trying to do.
The biggest thing I tell anybody, Cynthia, before we get to the book part of it, I would tell anybody if they really truly believe in what they do, you have to be a true leader. You got to carry the ship. That is the biggest thing. My team that I started with at 6 o'clock in the morning, we would have to get there at 5 o'clock. I still have that same team today. We almost going into our 5th year now in radio. We're still the same team. Everybody shows up on time. Everybody plays their part. But I carry the ship. I drive it. And when the leader is driving, all they have to do is come in and do their part. That's the biggest part. Never expect your team to do more than you do. So if I can tell any of your listeners out there, to make sure that you set the game plan. Don't set expectations for your team. Set expectations for yourself and what you're doing. Your team will follow a good leader. Teams follow a good leader, right? If you're a bad leader, you have a dysfunction in your team. If you're a great leader, people want to be around you. If you're successful, people want to be around you. And a lot of times, people get caught up in politics. They get caught up in personal issues. And you have to realize that nobody cares about what you're doing no more than you do. And when things go bad, let it be. And do what you got to do for your brand, your company, your radio show, your TV show. Your team will be there for you if you're working 2 times harder than they are.
That's true. There's nothing like having a leader, and you're showing them what you want, and you expect that from them, but you're not just saying it, you're doing it. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
I have a question. If you had to do it all over again, would you do anything differently?
Honestly, not tell my wife.
Nah, we want to know if she'll still be around, because we women don't play. Not telling us.
Would I do anything differently? Knowing what I know now, Cynthia, honestly, probably no, because everything that I did taught me how to be a radio talk show host. It taught me, what it means to learn a skill that I didn't have. So everything that I went through, I'm able to talk to you about today because I went through it. So would I change anything? Realistically, no. The only thing I don't really think I'd change that, because if I had known how much it really cost financially, I probably wouldn't have done it. But once you get in the midst of it and you're in the middle of the water, you got to swim, you find ways to figure out how to afford what you truly want. Like if you want them joints, you find a way to get it. If you want your radio show, you're going to find a way to pay for it.
That's right.
So, I wouldn't do anything different. Yes, ma'am.
What do you say? Because I know people that have regular jobs, and I have people that I know that are entrepreneurs. What do you say to someone that's married to an entrepreneur to try to help them understand the mind and how they think? Because nobody, like you said at the beginning, no one was really there when you had this dream and this vision. What can they do to support their spouse or their significant other?
The biggest thing I'm going to tell anybody is that when your husband or your wife married you, and if you're just starting out, they didn't marry an entrepreneur. They married you. And so even though you had it inside of you as a burning desire, they don't understand the journey and the burn that you have inside your gut. So it's going to be tough. And I don't have all the answers to that, but it's called, I think, communication number one. Don't belittle your spouse because they are not where you are doing what you're doing. And just try to figure out, how to evolve together, if it's possible. Sometimes as you evolve, the spouse will feel left out. Like in my situation, I'm in media. So when my wife first met me, I was broke, didn't have nothing. Nobody really cared nobody didn't care who I was, right? Nobody didn't even know who I was. But now when we go out, I'm Joe Lockett. A lot of people see me. She sees me with a lot of different people. And so it's a different feel. And so as each time, my name grows and my brand grows, I have to try to bring my wife along. And I have to let her develop herself. But what I would tell people is make sure that your spouse is comfortable in their own skin first before they try to become comfortable with you. Because they're going to see you, they love you, but they're going to feel like they're giving away a part of their life to someone else and they didn't ask for this. And so that's a tough balance in any home. I don't have a cookie-cut answer for anybody. I think just sitting down, communicating when you see things are not going quite right. Over-communicate and don't under-communicate is what I would say as you're going through things, and try to make them as much as part of the process as possible.
Yes, because I've seen people that I know, people just in life, I've seen people that they go out and they're like, okay, you're doing great in your career, but I want to do this. Like you were saying, she was doing what she wanted to do, but you wasn't That's like what you want to do. You wanted something that made you happy. Like you said, you can go to work every day and it doesn't feel like work. But they have to really have to understand, okay, this is what this person wants to do. I need to support them like you supported me. It's like a mutual support on both ends, but it's different because entrepreneur, we think, oh, let our mind. We take 20 million notes and 20 million thoughts.
I agree, but here's the thing. You cannot expect your spouse to support your dream when they don't even understand what it is, because you don't either sometimes. So again, I don't think that I think it's unfair for the spouse to have to understand and support what you're doing when they really didn't ask for what you're about to do. Again, that's when it comes to that communication point. I had to grow up really fast on that, Cynthia, because my marriage hit some bumps in the road, and it still does sometimes. But we can sit down and talk about it now, because I like facing the elephant in the room. I don't like being in the room and the elephant sitting there and we sitting there acting like we don't see it. So I always talk about the elephant in the room. That's just me. But yeah, it ain't your spouse's job to support you when they don't understand how to support you, because you don't really know what you're doing or what you're asking them to support, right? So, what I've learned to do is just go do me, and that's what I would tell my wife. Just let me do me. If you see anything where you want to be a part of it, you tell me. But let me just go do me. And whatever you want to be a part of, here's the function. This is what we're doing. If you want to go to this, fine. If you don't want to go to this, I'm not mad about it. And let them feel comfortable when they want to go along with the process, right? But don't force them into it. Because if you try to force them to be what you want them to be, they're not going to be happy for you. And sometimes, even though your spouse want to see you successful, they don't want to see you successful. Does that make sense?
It does to me. Yes.
Okay, let me explain that to your listeners. When I say your spouse want to see you successful, but they don't want to see you successful, I mean that they don't want to give up you for what success is going to bring to you, because it's a good thing for you, the person, but sometimes your spouse feels left out. And what you have to do as the person that's that entrepreneur is understand that you don't have to like it, but you do have to understand that you are giving away a part of your life, your privacy, to your business. And so you're actually cheating on your marriage with your business. And I had to realize that. And I always tell people, people always ask, Joe, what is your one regret? I said, I cheat on my wife. And people look at me like, what? Yeah, I cheat on my life with lady work, right? Because I had to realize that what I was giving to my job and my business and my brand, I was taking it away from my family.
Wow. That's true. But we have to make sure we make time for them, because, we don't need unhappy marriages.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. This is what I had to learn. Some people can balance it well, Cynthia. I don't. I like to focus on what I'm doing, and like I tell my wife, and this is just my household. I don't tell anybody to go try this. I'm going to support you 900% in what you do, but how you want that to be. And I have to go when after I finish supporting you, I got to go do me. And right now, whatever that takes for me to get to this next level, you can't help me get there. I don't know how else to get there by doing only by doing the way I do it, and it's not going to make anybody happy. And I tell my wife that all the time. But let me do it, because when it's all said and done, and I get it out of me, you're going to have a good husband, because I'm happy. I can be a better man to you, and I'll be able to bring in the finances and all the things that I want to bring to you. But if I'm sitting here trying to make you happy and I'm not getting what I want, right, this marriage ain't going to work anyway, because I'm going to be unhappy. So we got to compromise every once in a while. So I've learned to compromise, but, I would say 80% of my focus is on getting done what I get done, because just to get to this point, Cynthia, has taken me over 10 years to get just here, right? And I'm really nowhere at just a small point. And it's only now that people begin to recognize my name. And so it took you 10 years to get here. It takes you 5 seconds to lose it.
You're right about that. Anything these days, one mishap.
Yeah, and you go.
Who was that person? Who was that?
Exactly. Exactly. So, success comes with a high price. It really does, and it comes with sacrifice. If you look at the formula of any successful person, they lost a few people along the way. And sometimes it is a spouse. Sometimes it's a friend. Sometimes it's family members. But you lose people along the way, because what it takes to get to that next level Everybody is not willing to digest it. It's just not.
Wow, that's that's good. I got one more question. I want to talk about your book. What do you
Okay.
say to people that work a 9 to 5, but their heart is really for working for themselves? What kind of
Mhm.
tips can you give them? I know there's probably plenty listening that because most people, they start out their regular job and they
Right.
moonlighting, doing what they want to do, so they can
Right.
do that full time. What kind of
Well,
tips can you get them to keep going? Because I know they listening and they want to go and step out. Some
mhm.
might step out and do it part time. Some might just do it every now and then as a hobby and hadn't come a
Mhm.
business yet. What kind of tips can you give them to just persevere?
Let me say this to your listeners. I would say this. Number one, don't quit your day job. Make sure you continue doing what you're doing. But in 2017, this is the best time ever in history for you to be able to do whatever it is that you want to do because of the cell phone, apps, information. Everything is so simple to do right now. If you want to start a business, you can start it with an app. You can start it right there on your cell phone. So do your business in your spare time, whatever you like. If you like watching TV, stop watching TV, right, and start your business. The time that you gave to anything extracurricular activity, take that away, right, and start your business doing that. And so if you're watching TV or you like going to the movies or you like going to whatever you do extracurricular, if it's 1 hour, 2 hours, write down your game plan. Figure out what it is you want to do because a lot of times the idea that you start to do, it looks ugly once you start doing it and you realize, man, I'm glad I didn't quit my job. So I would say on the weekends or whatever your spare time is, start that business at your kitchen table. Start it, whatever it is. Start it at your kitchen table. If you want to sell cupcakes, make a cupcake and see can you sell it to your neighbors or sell it to your friends or family. If you want to go wash windows, if you want to go start a construction company, see can you get some small jobs, put some ads in the newspaper. Do it small. See can you do it. See can you make some money. If you see, well, okay, I like this, I'm doing make some money. Okay, go ahead and figure out and start putting your game plan to it. Well, this is how much money I want to make. This is how much the price I have to go charge. Let me go start my LLC, all this other good stuff. Try it first. I tell anybody in 2017, Cynthia, try what you want to be. Go try it. That's what my book is all about, facing your fear. Most people are just afraid to try. Just go try. The only way you know how to, you can do it if you try. Worst case scenario is what? You're going to be back where you are right now. You don't have it. You can't do it. But at least you know you can't do it without telling yourself you can't do it. So I would tell anybody right now, if you're in a 9 to 5 and you don't like it, stop watching TV or get off of Facebook, right? And write down one thing that you want to do for your business. Send out an email, call somebody, but just go do it. Whatever it is, make the first step to go do it and try it.
You have nothing to lose, and you don't want to look back 20 years later. I wonder if this would have took off. I wished I would have. I'd rather say, okay, I tried it, it didn't work out, than I wonder if it would have. That's a bad feeling to look back 20 years later, 10 years later, and wish and never known. That's all.
Well, I tell people, stop sitting back watching others succeed while you fail. Right? Stop watching others succeed while you fail. Right? Other people are trying. Right? You trying. I'm trying. Right? You have to try too. This game is called try. Everything I do don't be successful, but at least I try. When I die, if I die today, one thing you, Cynthia, and your listeners, or anybody listening to the sound of my voice and can say, well, doggone it, that guy sounds like he really tried. I'm good with that. I'm okay with that because I tried. But I don't want to live my life and say I never tried to do anything more because I was afraid to do it.
Yes, I know some people that might have messed up in one business and, okay, I can't do this business. And they just stop. Okay, that one didn't work. What are you going to try? Sometimes it's not what you did, it's how you did it. You might need to try another way. You just quit.
Well, one thing I would tell anybody, Cynthia, your listeners, and, stop listening to people. God gave you the gift, right? He gave you the idea. God gave it to you. When that gut feeling or that emotion hit you, that was God saying, hey, I want you to do this. You asked me for it. I'm telling you, it's now the time. And if he hit you a couple of times, that is God talking to you. Joe don't hear it. Cynthia don't hear it. Your mama, your dad, your friends. Nobody hears what God just told you. So only you know what to do with that. And it's going to look strange. You're going to feel funny. Nobody's going to understand. They're going to like, how does Cynthia or Joe, why are they doing that? Only you and God are going to know that. But then you got to figure out what it is. God gave it to you, so go do it.
And then praying, I tell people, I said, you looking for the right people to around. Pray for people. Pray for the right people to be around you. And the God leads you to the right people. But you can't sit at home to like, God, lead me to the right people, and you don't go nowhere. They're going to come knock on your door. They're not going to come knock at the door. You got to get out there.
Well, a lot of times.
The right people. What else?
Right. Well, people talk a strong game, right? But their action game is real short. And that's what I see with most people who are in business. You have a strong talking game, but your action game is real short. And that's why a lot of people don't succeed, because they don't do a whole lot. As soon as they face some kind of trials and tribulations, what comes out of it is, see, I told you so, man. That ain't for everybody, man. Yeah, bro, whatever. You have to believe in yourself. But, even if they're around me, right, you can put a bunch of negative people around me, and I'm going to make them believers. Because, God gave me the gift, Cynthia. I graduated from high school on college degree. But I own my own radio show. I own my own TV show. I just got a book put out. I got a sock line getting ready to come out. How did those things happen? I got a lot of naysayers around me. I got people who can call me names and say, how you doing? But I don't care. God ain't talking to them. God talked to Joe Lockett to lock it in and do what you got to go do. This is between me and you, son. This is what I want you to do. You asked me for this. I'm giving it to you, but you got to put the work in. And a lot of people don't know how to shut the noise out about how life is and what life is all about. And that's the biggest thing that I think people let other folks get into their ear. You don't have haters. You become your own hater when you listen. You can't hate on what God gave me.
I like that. And also, don't forget about Lock It In Media.
Yeah, Lock It In Media, that's my company. Yeah, Lock It In Media is my company that owns, my radio show, my TV show, my books, and everything. That is my LLC. So, basically what we do with that, I own my shows, but I'm producing other shows now and trying to help other radio talk show hosts and TV show hosts get into the business or help them, understand the business. So my goal, God gave me a vision of opening doors for other people as people have opened up the doors for me. So my goal is, yes, to become a multimillionaire. Don't get it twisted. I want to be profitable, but at the same time, you can only be profitable when you help 1 million people. You help 1 million people, God will bless you with $1 million.
That's true. I know your story of who you look at, but tell the audience who, like you said, you told them that you wanted to be Steve Harvey. What is it about Steve Harvey that you like so much that you wanted to be syndicated?
Steve Harvey's my role model, and he don't know it. I sat in a room years ago when I was doing construction. I was on radio, and he was just getting into radio. He came to Birmingham. I sat in the back of the room and saw how people gravitated towards him. And I said, one day I'm going to walk in the room, and people are going to know my name, and Steve Harvey's going to know my name. Well, I walk into the room, and now people know my name. Steve Harvey don't know my name yet, but he will. But Steve Harvey, he have a radio show. And I patted myself behind him because he does so many good things. And so Steve Harvey had a radio show. I said, I got to get a radio show. I said, I want to be like Steve Harvey. I want to get syndicated. So I got a radio show. Steve Harvey on TV? Okay, I went and got my own TV show. Steve Harvey wrote a book? Well, I just wrote a book, right? Steve Harvey got a mentoring camp. I went and started me a mentoring camp. So I used him as my guide to what I wanted to do. He had it. I figured out it's on a smaller scale, but I got it. So as long as I have the same platform, I can build it to be the next Steve Harvey. So now I don't say I want to be like Steve Harvey. Right now I say that Steve Harvey was my role model, but now I want to be like Joe Lockett, because I have people now saying that they want to do what Joe Lockett is doing. So now I'm Joe Lockett and Steve Harvey is my role model.
I like that, because you was looking at Steve, now somebody's looking at you. And whoever you bring on, somebody's going to be looking at them. So it's just a spiral down effect, basically.
Yes. I have a lot of people now who ask me how to get in radio, help them get into radio, advice on how to get into TV and things of that nature. So it's all about just getting started, Cynthia. And that's why, when I wrote my book, it was about, I said yes, facing your fear. Um, if you don't face that fear, right, you will never be successful. That is the biggest thing I tell anybody. You got to face your fear. Whatever it is, you got to go face it. That's the only way that door that God got in front of you is going to open.
What about the people that this used to be me fear? I like my privacy. Even though what I do for a living, I like my privacy. And we had that discussion one time. I was telling you, what about the fear of success? Because I know some people like, you know what, I want to do this, but I don't want to get no bigger than this because I don't want people in my business and whatever. What about the people that got a fear of success or a fear of failure? Those two seem to be the top two that I've heard people talk about a lot.
But the one thing I can tell people is that I know for a fact I fear success. I still do to this day. I still have a fear of it, not like I used to. And in my book, I go and describe, the different fears. But one thing I can tell people, you go get my book. If you go to feargotmehere.com, you'll be able to go purchase my book. But the one thing I can tell people from a nugget from my story in the book is that when you're facing your fear, the one key ingredient about facing your fear is that once you face it, Cynthia, once you get there and you understand what it is, because a lot of times you don't know that you even got that fear. You don't know what it is. You just know that it's something keeping you from it. But it's actually fear that is stopping you. It sounds crazy that success, that you're afraid of it. But in our community, right, how many people do you know that is a multimillionaire? We see them on TV. We listen to them on radio. But you have none of us really, most of us don't get around people who are multimillionaires. It sounds easy to say, but when you go doing it, the brain shuts down because why? You have no clue on how to become a multimillionaire.
Right.
And so once your body chemistry starts to function in that realm of unknown, fear kicks in. And you don't know it's fear because you want it, but your body don't know how to get it, and you get this uneasy feeling, right? Your hands get sweaty. Right. Your butt cheeks get tight. You don't know what that feeling is, but you feel queasy. You feel sick. And you don't know what's going on, but each time you try to get to a certain level or get to the unknown, you get in like purgatory, you get that feeling, right? And that feeling, I tell all your listeners that listen tonight, that feeling that you have of uneasiness or you're not for sure is fear. And it's up to you to figure out what, in that process, wherever you are in life, you got to figure out what it is that you fear. And you got to figure out a way to face and conquer that fear. And that will open up so many doors for you once you figure that out. You have to read the rest of my book. Go to feargotmehere.com and you can read the rest of my book.
That's what I was about to ask you. That is the website, feargotmehere.com. And write that down. So I'll make sure I put it on the website.
Fear got me here. Yes, feargotmehere.com.
Okay, I'll make sure I wrote that down. So when show's over, and I'll put it out there. So if they forget feargotmehere.com, I'll put it out there so they'll know where to go.
Well, thank you.
I know it's so many people that has fear as a problem in their business, not just their business, in their life in general. Some people are just scared to take the next step of going back to college. Some people getting married. Some got hurt before. Anything in a relationship, different kind of fears. It doesn't have to be your business. And some people just scared to take the next step. And you don't want to be sitting there forever scared. You got to make a move. You got to do something. You can't be in the same spot. Hopefully, not 5 years like now, and 5 years later, you're still in the same spot. Hopefully, you got to do something.
Yeah,
don't get run over in the road too long.
Well, the one thing I would tell your listeners tonight, Cynthia, is just be sure, that number one, know who you are, love yourself, and know what you want. Don't be wishy-washy about it. Have a direct purpose in what you want with your life, and then go after it with all your passion. What makes you and I and people like us different, Cynthia? I would die for what I believe I got to do to be the #1 radio talk show host and a TV show host. That's what I would go out there and die for. And I won't stop till I get there. Will you? That's the whole thing. You can't stop me, Cynthia. No one can stop me from what God got already blessed for me. If God said, Joe Lockett, this is yours, there's nothing nobody can do to stop that from happening but me. That means if it don't work here, I need to go to Japan. I need to go to Egypt. But if God got it for you and he keeps telling you to go here and go there, that's what you got to go do. You got to follow him. If you read the Bible, all those things people did, they just didn't happen right there in their little village. They had to go through some obstacles. They had to go through some tough times. They had to go through years of stuff that didn't happen. But God, once they did what God told them to do, right, it worked out. And when I read the Bible, Cynthia, and I started understanding what my grandma and my mama was telling me over the years, all of it just saying, man, God going to give it to you, but he ain't going to give it to you when you want it. And we've all heard that. God ain't going to give it to you when you want it, son. He's going to give it to you when you deserve it. You got to earn it. And you got to earn God's respect.
Oh, I didn't even know we almost took time to end the show. Make sure you I didn't even really know. I was like, woo, time went by this quick.
You got two talk show hosts on you got two talk show hosts on the air.
Oh, we just didn't have a conversation like, oh, y'all here, I'm sorry. Oh, let me talk to y'all too. Make sure you give them all your information, because you're doing a lot in the community to help people. You're brightening up people's days. People you talk about different things and going on in the city, in the state, in the country. People need to know how to get in touch with you. If they want you to come out to speak, or if they want you, whatever they want you to do. Give them your contact information so they can get in touch.
Well, here's something real simple for everybody to do. Just Google Joe Lockett, that's Lockett, show. And you can contact me there on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And if you want to contact me personally, go to joelockettShow@gmail.com. That's joelockettShow@gmail.com. That's the easiest way to get into contact with me. I'm all over social media. I'm easy to get in contact with. So if you guys want any information, if you guys need any help in getting started in the thing, man, I don't mind doing free consultations just to get you in the right direction. So I know you got to get ready to get up out of here, Cynthia. I want to thank you for taking the time tonight to actually interview me to talk about my book. I ask your listeners to please go get my book. I'm trying to become the best. I wrote the book, y'all, but I got to become a bestseller. So I need y'all to go to feargotmehere.com. That's feargotmehere.com and buy my book, and I will promise you I will sign the book personally for you and mail it out to you. And if you're somewhere in the Birmingham area, I'll probably even bring it to you.
They can get a picture with you, maybe.
They get a picture. A lot of people are telling me, just can they meet me because they want to take a picture with me? Because my next goal is to become a bestseller. Right now, I got a goal is right now I want to sell 1,000 books. I have sold about, I think I probably sold about 40 or 50 books so far since the launch. And so now I'm out here on the book tour trying to get the book sold, because people don't know me as an author. They know me as a radio show host and a TV show host, but they don't know me as a book author. So I got to earn my respect in that. So I got to get out here and grind. And you're part of that grind, Cynthia, and I want to say thank you so much for having me on your show tonight.
Thank you for taking time out of your day. And let's not forget feargotmehere.com. I will make sure I put that out there so people can go buy your book. Thank you for being on the show tonight. And
thank you.
Thank you so much. And next week we will have people from California talking about toxic mold and dealing with the hurricane and what to do after the hurricane is over and how to deal with the water damaged homes. I want to thank everybody for listening to the show tonight, and we want to thank you for being here, and we want to thank you, and God bless you, and see you all next week. Have a good night.
Thank you, Cynthia. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.